Breakfast by boat. Got some hash browns crisping up. 3 eggs in a gold pan. Good. So what's new today, before we get this thing right fired up, is all day yesterday I was using this screen. You can kind of see side by side, it's a little bit finer. Now the coarser screen that we have in here right now, haven't tried it yet, haven't seen what the sluice box looks like yet. The sluice was just running beautifully with the thinner screen, but with a bit of organic material that would sort of clog up these, and then you'd brush it free and stuff. But in order to get the hopper steep enough that the rocks are rolling down sort of like I'd like to see, the screen is a little bit too steep, and it's bleeding a bit of water. There you are, getting it fired up. I'll just turn that down for a second. So when I get home, I'm going to take these 3 rivets right here, pull them apart, and then I can make this part steeper and the screen less steep relative to each other. But for today, we're just going to go for that coarser screen and see how it works. Get your water flow there. Little dribbles coming off of here, and I think that's mainly just the screen on average is a little bit steeper than it needs to be. But we're gonna see what the sluice box looks like with this classification. I think this is 3/16 and that is 1/8. This area is all mucky. I've done about 8 test pans up at the front of the boat there to figure out where we're going to set up next. The streak is narrowing, and it probably goes for about maybe just two more sections that we're actually going to have any pay. So coming back in this direction here, this is all just surface, and I dug everything that was below the surface, and it really goes down in colors. Spread all of our tailings out here. We'll, rake this over when we're done, but essentially we did move a very large volume of material. You can check out your little black sand fan out the bottom here. I have had a look and I'm not seeing gold down here. Like sometimes I would see gold just using different mats and stuff. And considering the volume we're running, we're seeing nothing down here. We turned up the water flow a little bit so that it could handle the two of us digging better. And that seems to be helping as far as gold being seen down at this bottom edge and a few test pans. But you do get gold all the way down here. So you can see there's a little fleck of gold up in the top corner of that cell. Obviously, there's a lot more gold. If we tuck in up here, let me see, there was like 20 pieces just in one little spot. Like right at the tip of my finger here, there's quite a large speck. Yeah, I lost it, but one of these holes just had a whole boatload of gold in it. And then this does seem to be capturing gold. Again, we'll see what the volume is once we do a clean out. But goldfinger down here, these little fingers of mats, there's no way you can't see that on film. Let me get there you go, the sun shade out of there. Look at that, just loaded. Goldfinger's happy. So yeah, this whole section here was actually just under a tank of gas. So just by skimming just the surface and the two of us working pretty good. I'm just gonna zoom out right there. You've got this entire little gravel bar and we've gone over the whole thing. You'll notice there's really no piles we're leaving behind by the time we rake it over. What's really interesting is between here and where the tent is, we've dug that entire thing, start to finish. And it kind of looks like it did when we got here. So, I don't know, that's just how it's been going. And it's time to not do a clean out, but dig a little spot for this up there. Chris is gonna get some lunch going while I move the high banker. And then we'll just try to do as much digging as we can for the rest of the day. Set this up, made it all level, prepared a little pit down here, and the pay streak has gotten a lot narrower, so there's gonna be a lot more walking in each direction. But given the setup time and the fact that two of us are feeding it, it makes sense to go about maybe up to 10 paces back and forth, because otherwise you're gonna overfeed the box. What can I say? So I had a bunch of these little bubble levels, you know, glued with hot glue onto the sides, and they've slowly all fallen off. So luckily I had the foresight to draw a line of our 1 inch per foot slope right here. I have an app on my phone, so I can just press my phone up against the bottom. It'll tell me our angle, but I've got a short little torpedo level, so I can go off of this for the length and then just set it across here for the width. And it's less convenient than just having like bubble levels all over the place. So in the future, I'll have to either rivet those on or bolt them on or use some epoxy. But that's one of the things that needs to be done, is get all those bubble levels back on. So here we are in preparation. Ready to shovel. One more fire up for the day. Got some gravel in the hopper there because the box is full of gold. It's a tad low on this side, so I'll adjust and then we start to dig. This is the end. The pump is still running, but it's the end of the third tank of gas. And I've just sort of let it run clear for a while, just confirming that we're not getting a bunch of scour out action with these settings, which is very slightly more water flow. And this is the larger of the two screen options. So you can see in the box, you can see a few more like pieces of rock in here, like larger pieces. Nothing is big enough that I would say it's affecting the capture. You can see some decent gold on my fingertip there. I don't know if it'll show in the camera, but yeah, this has been running for a few minutes, so we'll walk down and basically shut down the pump nice and slow, put it down to an idle, let it sit there for a few seconds, shut her down, and we'll have a quick look in this box for the end of day I guess this is day 3 of shoveling at this point. It's been a lot of ground moved. Have a look at what we scoured out as it was running there for about 5 minutes. Okay. Well, I'll throw this into a gold pan and we'll see what we got. But start by having a look in here. Ooh, yeah, that's juicy. Right there. Just loaded. Absolutely loaded. Oh, wow. Yeah. If you look right up where that finger is there, see if I can go in 3 times. It's just like a solid pile of gold behind those. Chris, look at this. It's almost like solid gold.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
It's a nice one. And come down to the very bottom of the box. The more you run one of these, the more you're going to see gold down at the bottom. Couple specks here. So we are seeing gold down at the bottom here. But if we're hammering it 2 shovels at the same time, like just being a little harsh on it, and we're keeping 90%. All right, goldfinger. We're lovingly naming these little fingers of miner's moss that are cut around the diverters goldfingers. And goldfingers looks like almost solid gold there. That is unreal. Focus. Wow. Yeah, you're gonna like goldfingers, Chris.
Yeah.
Goldfingers is happy.
Good. Your back is not.
Your back is not. Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, I kind of shake this out a little bit.
Boy.
Pull this apart, but there's a decent amount of gold up there too. So yeah, like that was today's digging was essentially this line and then all the way along here. Now as we keep going, you'll see how that just gets really narrow. It's almost the point where you could use like a wheelbarrow or a cart to bring stuff into the sluice, so you don't have to keep moving the sluice along as much. But it's been working quite efficiently. Basically, one of us will dig close to the box and one of us will dig far from the box, and then so you both like work in one direction. Then by the time I get close to the box, he's far from the box, and then the timing of the shovels hitting the box works out quite nicely. This little section of bank here, we're actually seeing about 60 colors in a test shovel. Like it'd be a little over 100 colors in like a big whopping shovel, right down deep even. So we're gonna skip over this for now because it's richer where the river sort of pulled this out and then, you know, concentrated it along this bank. But you can come back to this because it's so soft and just sort of go 2 feet deep, and well, basically until it tapers out a little bit. And today we have dug from, so that little gravel bar sticking out, there's a tree right at my fingertip. We started there, worked our way down here. So we're covering a lot of ground with 3 tanks of fuel. And I guess this would have been 2 tanks on Monday, 3 tanks on Tuesday, and this is 3 tanks on Wednesday. And it's all gonna add up to something beautiful. So I have panned out what was in that tub. And remember, Goldfingers is full of gold. That box is full of gold, even right down to the bottom where it's, you know, we're starting to get it working down there. And I was a little bit concerned. Thought maybe, well, if we got 300 colors, that's 1 shovel worth. We're sitting there 5 minutes at full throttle, like miner's moss, completely, like we have not cleaned out all day. This is 3 tanks of gas, about 6.5 hours. And after the last shovel, I threw the tub in with a little bit higher water flow than we did when I did the last test. And we have a piece of gold right here. And I think that's it. Let me put the focus enhancer on. Like my eyes can't see anything. Okay, yeah, no, there's a couple tiny little flakes. But this is like crazy. Like, look at my finger. So, that is amazing. I'm very happy that, like, one of the things is if you're hammering 2 shovels hit the hopper at the exact same time, and it's just like getting hammered with material, and if you're able to still take 90% of the gold out of that, we turned up our water flow so it can keep up with us a little bit better. And we're actually seeing even better than 90% with 2 people shoveling. I didn't do like another like super rigorous test, but I'd say we're in the like 95 recovery zone. And then the big issue is when you're running all day long, right? So for 6-7 hours of water running through that box, if you've got scour happening where it's slowly moving down, slowly moving down, slowly moving down, that adds up to a lot of losses. And especially when you stop feeding, which no matter how careful, like your box discipline of shutting the water flow down or turning it low every time you walk away, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, the gold's gonna start moving from the top and move down and move down and move down. So to see full speed, like what we're shoveling at, and a full at least 5 minutes of just running empty, and to find like pretty much nothing in the tailings, that's just really comforting to know that once it's in that box, it's staying in that box, and I can leave it in there all day. And any of this stuff about miner's moss, once it's full of black sand, doesn't work anymore. Not true. I would argue if you had a single 12-inch wide sluice, it's going to capture real nice and probably keep up to both me and Chris for the first 50 shovels, because it's filling up with its capacity. And then you start running it after that, you're like, man, we're losing like crazy, because it's going to slow down its ability to process. So with the 24-inch wide box, it can keep up to the 2 of us shoveling all day long, and it continues to exchange out and concentrate, and just it works great. I am definitely looking forward to trying some other mats in here, but as far as I just wanted to use tried, tested, and true, go with that Pop and Sun style sluice, and I'm really happy with the results that I've got right here. Like, I could run this for the rest of the year happily, nothing to worry about. Yeah, you guys have seen enough cleanouts out in the field here, so we're going to pull it all apart. Basically, the hopper goes into one box, Goldfinger goes into another box, and the sluice double level goes into the final box or bucket. And then, when we get home, we can kind of see what the split is of everything. I'm tired, and it's a little earlier today, so I think it's like 6:30 right now. We're not going to work for the rest of the day. It's day 3 of shoveling. We got another couple days out here, so it's time to have some much earned rest, a little relaxation, and enjoy the serenity. Definitely see more of like this size rock with the coarser screen, whereas without that there was like nothing but black sand. Here's a nice little pile of gold. Whatever's going on in here, it's just loaded with gold everywhere. There you go. 2 trays in the tub, a little slosh of water there. Ready to set her back up for tomorrow. So on shore here, that gravel bar has not been touched. Well, that bar has. And we're just casually floating down until right at the very bottom left there. That is where we started. So that is like, I don't know, it's a good chunk of land anyways. We came, we saw, we prospected, we mined, we reclaimed, and now we are going to float on up or down this river and look for more. Beautiful. Fun fact, if you take 5 1-liter water bottles and put them into a Garrett Super Sluice Gold pan, that is what 5 liters of water looks like. I'm going to be using that as my real world flow test. So this is running off 1 pump, and I'm going to figure out what my flow rate is by timing how long it takes to fill that pan. And then of course this guy is running off a separate pump, I don't have an auto feed system set up yet. I'm going to see how quickly I can actually just, you know, shovel feed this rather than spoon feed this. I've got the bilge pump. This is an old pond pump right here. I believe it's 300 liters per, I don't know, what is it? It's 2,400 liters per hour, whatever that is. And then this is a 1,500 gallon per hour bilge pump, but I'm running it with a speed controller, so I'll just be, you know, just trickling the water through here relative to what it could do. And I'll get it all sort of dialed up, figure out what the settings are that work, so that in the future it's easy to just sort of dial in those settings and have this thing run. The reason I have these sitting up on a little tray there is because I'm going to have a very large quantity of concentrates to run. I have 5 separate runs to do here, because I want to see like what's in this run, what's in that run, what's in that run, stuff like that. And then at the very end, I'm going to take everything in this tub and I'm going to, you know, scoop it all out, clean everything out, fresh water, and I'm going to rerun everything to see if it's worth rerunning everything and keeping it, or maybe I can just keep the top 2 sluices and store everything in the bottom sluice in a container for the end of the year, and everything down there can just, you know, feed the garden right away. But yeah, we'll see how this all works. It's not like a custom designed thing I did specifically for this. I just took stuff that I already had lying around real quick. So this is my old sluice. I bent this by like cutting it and then bending it. And then I stuck a couple little pieces here, just riveted on so that this sluice can sit inside of it. This is, of course, one of the Utmost Explorers. This is like the first prototype. Very slight dimensional changes on it, but I'm just using that. And I've got this Infinity Prospecting's VDR matting. Interestingly, this sluice, I have it sitting on top of just like a random cut off piece of aluminum there to help stiffen it up a little bit. And I'm just using the little picnic basket handle, so if the angle isn't perfect on the top sluice, don't really care. This is the primary recovery. I just figured, hey, let's get a bonus, scrape as much gold out as we can with the first sluice. You'll notice they have this cleanup sluice, so it's got this V groove stuff going on right here, and then these little drop riffle circles are actually slightly smaller than these ones down here. Just turn that focus enhancer off. Yeah, so these are slightly larger circles than these. This is sort of like the cleanup sluice. This is like what you would run out in the field. Not sure what difference to expect, but we've got a lot of recovery areas zigzagging back and forth here, and I'm just going to spoon feed everything in and see how it works. So we're going to do 3 cleanup runs: hopper, goldfingers, main sluice. This is hopper, and let's get that first shovel going here. Okay, small scoops. Hoping for a rich looking shovel. There's not a lot of material in the hopper. Oh yeah. Just all turn into gold. One little scoop, and it's literally all turned into gold. And this is the amount I get from the hopper in a total of 4 cleanups. So there's like 4 hopper cleanups in this bucket. Very curious what percentage of gold the hopper holds. There's obviously gold all the way down to the bottom still, but then you get down to this box and, you know, there's clearly gold going all the way into the bottom box, but it's such a small amount. Easy. Washing it all down. Yeah, it's just piles of gold in this thing though. Just piles, man. It's definitely easier to clean out the mats when you can just take the mat and slosh it around in the tub. But using the hose, it does definitely work. All right, one more for good luck. And then just raise the top out of the bottom a little bit there. Okay. Not too bad. There's some real three-dimensionalness to this gold. And time for the next level. Now we will pull this mat out, but actually I don't know if we need to pull this mat out. Yeah.
We'll get it all at the very end.
Yeah, we'll get it all at the very end. No, this works really well. It's easier with somebody else holding it, but okay. This right here, that is goldfingers. That is 8 inches wide by, I don't know, not much longer than 8 inches long. And goldfingers over the course of 4 cleanouts, actually 5 cleanouts, about 18 hours worth of effort represented. Just this piece of moss caught all of this gold. Like, there's a lot of it, which is a very good sign. And shout out to Infinity Prospecting for turning me on to this VDR matting stuff. Like, this gold's really hard to capture, so you're obviously losing a ton of gold out of this into this, and even some of this into that. Like, it's just tricky gold to capture, but it's a good low energy mat. You get very little concentrates out of it, and I'm a fan. I would definitely be interested in trying this stuff out for the main run of the sluice. I would still use moss in the hopper, and I would still use moss for goldfingers if I keep that design in place, because of it sort of holds on to material and then can bleed it out a little bit. The moss worked absolutely beautifully, but I would also be open to the main run having this. It would be heavier than the moss as far as empty weight of the sluice. It would increase the weight of the sluice slightly, but your total concentrates volume that you bring home would be way reduced. And it does seem to work pretty good. So yeah, like just look at that. The more I run it, the more it sort of cleans out, and it's like pure gold in those cells, or at least on the surface. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna get right zoomed in on this because I can. Wow. What does it weigh? That is the question. That bucket is 4 full cleanups of the bottom double level sluice. So it is 3 feet long and a total of 16 inches wide at the top, 24 inches wide at the bottom, thin backed 5/16 inch thick miner's moss. And that bucket weighs about just over 23 kilograms, or about 51.5 pounds. That is, again, 4 cleanups done over 4 days, representing about 18 hours of work. And we're hoping to find the majority of our gold in that. But that is a situation where potentially in the future, by swapping out to a different style of mat, we would have way less concentrates to take home at the end of the day. But it certainly did catch the gold for us. And with this system, we should be able to run through this pretty quick. We've got it dialed in from doing the rest of the cleanouts. So I will time the run and we'll see how long it takes to go through 4 cleanouts of that whole big box. And as has been our little tradition here, we'll take this first scoop, put in like a tiny little bit, but right here, 1 scoop. How rich is it? It shouldn't be very concentrated rich. There's just a ton of it. But honestly, look at that.
Sweet.
It's actually pretty rich. Like there's gold in that. All the way down here, there's like from 1 spoon. This is insane. 1 hour later. Probably could have fed a little bit quicker, but Chris has been very consistently putting in small little spoons to see if we can get most of it up top. That is like pure gold. And then that's like pure gold. And actually, even the black sand in the bottom of those holes is starting to filter out and show just pure gold in the bottom. We come down to the very bottom here. That's just loaded with gold in the very end. And then of course your second level at this point, like just in the V grooves of the second level, it's like solid gold. The very bottom here, it's still some gold down there, but a lot less. And then that's where the third level comes in. And it really does look like there's not a lot down here. Oh yeah. That's real, man. That is full. This is the very bottom layer, layer number 3. And here's the second bottom riffle of layer number 3. There's a little bit of gold sitting there. So we definitely lost some gold into the tub, even with the triple, even with that really nice, slow, careful feed. But I think the percentages, right? It's, if you're dealing with 5 grams of gold, you're really not going to see anything in the tub that's worthwhile. But when you're dealing with who knows how much we have, that's when it starts to add up. Yeah, there's like fair bit in here, top riffle, a little bit right there, but relative to the other levels, like very, very little here. I don't know how good the hopper recovery is going to be, but I have a feeling this first spoon is going to be very pretty. So let's zoom on in. We're going to have a look. We just have this much material right here, not a whole ton. I'm going to take a full spoon. I'm going to drop her on the table. Oh, that's some good stuff. There's literally 1 spoonful. You're gonna have to just be patient here and let that run. Well, the lighting is starting to wane here, but as he's brushing, it's literally like sweeping gold back and forth. I still have maybe another 2 spoons to go here. Incredibly fine. So the hopper recovery is definitely pulling something out for us. If you are watching this video right now and you are one of those people that would like to make a comment for the algorithm and show your engagement with my YouTube channel, now is the time. Predict what percentage of the total gold that we found. Remember, this is about 19 hours worth of digging in the hopper. What percentage of our gold did we find in the hopper? Comment below. Oh, mate, she's loaded, eh? Yeah, right. Down in Australia, we don't have powder like that. Our gold has substance. Righto then, back to Canada. Oh, she's loaded, eh? Oh yeah, eh? Look at that gold there. Oh wow. Cast a moose out of that. At a half decent location, probably about 200 colors a shovel, 150 to 250. You know what? It doesn't look like a ton. I'd say that's 5 grams, but maybe it's 4 grams. I don't know. The weight will tell. I'll snuffer this up and then do the final sweep of the table, and we will actually get a weight on this. Okay, so I got to clean that up a little bit more, but if I spin this down, almost a full snuffer bottle tip. Very curious what this weighs out as. I think Goldfingers is going to have more, and then I think the main box is going to have the most.
I would agree.
My guess is this is probably 25 to 30%, and then Goldfingers another 25 to 30%, and then the rest of the box will be the final 50%. But that's a guess taken with only seeing what the hopper had. So let's get this into a tray. Exciting. It's like a pet store out there, just dribbling.
Yeah, it's like aquariums.
Yeah. Practically half the reason I do this is because I like water. It's like, oh wait, that's not how we do this. What have I learned? Yeah, this is a great snuffer bottle for cleanouts.
Seems very...
So for reference sake, without the tube in there, it's obviously going to take up less space, but we're however much that is. So I have mixed feelings about this because I think, in my mind, the way my spray bar is hitting that hopper, it's going to wash a lot of gold out of the hopper. But the hopper is going to work really good as that surge, you know, it's sort of just holding on to the stuff and bleeding it slowly into the rest of the sluice. This is the concentrates for Goldfingers. It's just, like, you can see the gold in it way more than you could before. So let's run Goldfingers. Notice all of the gold sitting in the concentrates. You usually can't see that. This is going to be very rare. Oh my God, look at that. That's like 20% gold. That is unreal, dude. We might have to do this in multiple runs because that is going to overload the Miller table. What the heck have we done, man? That was a small spoon. That was a very small spoon. Like, what the heck, dude? My question is, did Goldfingers catch more? Or did the main sluice catch more? Because they're both in the same amount of baby concentrates. So, like another baby spoon here. We might have to get some lights out here because people are going to be like, Kyle, how come you didn't film that in daylight? This is a special moment, man. This is setting records. You got to do this right. We'll set up a light after this. Because that is looking very, very pretty. My black sand. It looks like it's repulsing the black sand. her down the table. I'm not just sucking the black sand up to the magnet. At this point I probably could, but when you have black sand that's like surrounded with as much gold as we've got up here, it tends to mechanically, like 2 pieces of black sand will grab a piece of gold with it, so I'm just being careful. There's really not a lot of concentrates in here. I guess the way we were running the sluice, there was less material in this, which is why it was probably so concentrated.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I'm already done. So that might have been part of it. I thought we were gonna have a lot more actually, because I thought we had more spoons to go, but oh well, it's still great. The last run that we're about to do should have the most gold. I think that the majority of the gold was caught in the primary sluice box. This is what it would look like if you had a roughly 8-inch long sluice box that was roughly 8 inches wide, or actually exactly, it's 8 inches wide. So if you were running about 35 to 40 US gallons per minute over a 8-inch wide sluice, it'd be pretty hot. That fine expanded and it was your sluice was only 8 inches long. This is how much gold you would capture. And if you told me that you were running 35 to 40 US gallons per minute over an 8-inch wide sluice box, I would say you're going to lose a ton of gold, which means that hopefully we're going to lose a ton of this gold into the main sluice run, which is next. It's got to be at least 5 grams there. I'm hoping.
Hope so.
It's about the same. So the hopper and goldfingers looks similar. Maybe like 5 grams a piece or something. There's a lot of spoons in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Miller table set. About 9:30. It's getting dark here.
Yeah.
Where's the gold? I don't see the gold. Oh, I see the gold.
I see it.
Yeah. Back to the catchphrase. Oh, she's loaded. Let's turn this on. Now I'd say that looks okay.
I would say it looks pretty good.
Especially considering, like, you have what, like another 3 times that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be nice, dude. This is gonna be really nice. Oh, she's loaded. Just doing a final wave here. Moving that black sand down and out. Like, that's already 3-dimensional, like it's swept up. You can just see the lines. And it's the whole thing. Like, how much gold is that?
It's pretty much. There's a tiny bit.
Okay. So at this point, there is just a minuscule amount of sort of recirculating stuff that can start coming through, just because, you know, the tub has material in it and some of it's sort of light and floofy, but we've got this pretty much perfectly clean. So I think it's time to draw something exciting in it, perhaps a little utmost outdoors. And then, yeah, lower the table and sweep this up, because that is, I want to know what that weighs. But first, a word from our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
You just
can start sponsoring that, even though you don't get sponsored by them. I'm just like, wait till they contact you. You're like, yeah, man, I figured to get a head start. Can I get like 5 ads worth?
Exactly. Shamelessly plug in the channel. It's not often you get enough gold to write an ad to yourself. Subscribe to Utmost Outdoors for more of this. I don't know, there's just a lot of gold here. So even what's potentially going into that tub, it's okay. We're keeping everything in that tub for later. Yeah, this is going to be insane. So we're going to bring everything into the middle here. I just got to put a border around my little channel plug here. Gained about 19 hours of 2 of us shoveling. It does look pretty. It wasn't like 10 p.m. We do this all day long. We'll tell you what. We better snap a couple pictures of this before I actually snuffer this up, because that looks pretty cool. All right. I like it. All right. Okay, I'll give you this. I think it's even still recording, right? It is. All right, perfect. As long as it's still recording, this is the big money one. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth will happen on a scale later, but as soon as this gets into a big pile, it's going to look particularly pretty. So I guess Chris can get right up close here and we'll just focus on the gold, because that's all you guys really need to see right now. Make sure we got a nice deep pool in the miller table here so we don't break the surface with our giant pile. I'm not going to pile it into one giant pile either, because I don't want to do that. So that's like more than 50% of our capture, I would say.
Yes, I would agree.
Like, I couldn't even get that in one snuff. Okay, and then swirl it all down. So yeah, it's like completely full up into the lid. Shake her all back down. I guess maybe I gotta put it that way.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Anyways, get this over onto the old tray there. I like feel the gold moving around in this thing, dude. All right, so it's all down on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but we've emptied out a fair bit. Okay. Get more gold down. This looks serious, man. What do you think, Chris? It's at least double what's there.
It's double, yeah.
So what you are looking at here, we'll keep these away because that might be for the future run. But you've got the hopper, which caught, I would say, almost tied with goldfingers, but maybe the least. And then you've got goldfingers, and you've got the main sluice. I think the main sluice is maybe like this plus one more. Maybe. Or it could be just straight doubled.
Maybe doubled.
Maybe doubled.
It's still very hard to tell.
It's very hard to tell. So we basically need to actually let this dry overnight. We're going to come back through the magic of YouTube. We can just pop to tomorrow at some point, and we'll get weights on everything. And then I don't think this part's edited yet, but we've got the other 2 cleanouts over here to the right. You guessed 18 grams, didn't you, Chris?
I did.
Okay, so for the whole trip, you were low.
I was low.
But I was definitely high. Okay, so in the hopper, 4.63 grams. In goldfingers, 4.3 grams, and in the main sluice box, 9.46 grams. So let's talk about that. So actually, Chris guessed 18 grams for the whole trip, but in the first 3 days or 4 days or whatever, the 19 hours of running got us this, which totals to 18.39 grams. So 18 grams. The following 2 days, I'll go over that. I don't know if that's going to be a separate video or not, but we only did 1 tank of gas each day, and one of those days, it turns out it was actually a pretty good day because we got 2.84 grams in the 2 hours, so over a gram an hour, but that's still 2 people digging. So essentially we need to find more gold. But just right now, I'm just going to go over for the whole trip. We totaled 22.86 grams over a 5-day trip, including prospecting, camping, setting up. During that time, the pump was running for a total of 23 hours. There's a lot more work involved, like moving the high banker in between, and like we were really only able to run 3 tanks of gas a day, and that was a big day. Like it took the whole day. So there's some efficiencies we can work out if we were trying to like really maximize hours spent working. But the fuel expenses for the whole trip, I'm not going to count like wear and tear on a vehicle, wear and tear on a jet boat, anything like that. That's hard to put a proper number to. Just fuel. And this is primarily for the car to get to the river. And then second expense would be the actual jet boat gas. And then final expense would be like maybe 12 liters on the actual WX15 water pump. That uses almost no fuel. $286.80 of fuel, which the way I'm calculating the value of gold is at today's spot price, $86.10 per gram Canadian dollars. In the past, when I've melted this down, it's anywhere between 89 and 91% pure. So we're going with 90% purity, which would bring the actual gold value to $77.49. And then a local buyer that's just very easy to, you melt your gold, you take it there, they give you money. They pay 90% of that gold. Potentially could take this out to a refinery somewhere in Vancouver where the percentage is a lot higher once we have a lot of gold. But we're just going with this for, if you needed to turn this into gas and groceries really conveniently locally, what we can do, it'll end up being $69, nice, and 74 cents per gram for what we actually found here. So to cover all the fuel expenses, we have to take 4.11 grams away from all of this, and that just goes to basically pay back my credit card or my wallet for the fuel, leaving us with 18.75 grams of profit right here over a 5-day trip. We're splitting it 50-50 between the two of us. Chris has helped me out a whole bunch in the past, and so he deserves every single penny of his 50% here. And that works out to, yes, each of us take home after expenses, we get 9.375 grams of gold each. It's about 10 grams each over 5 days. Yes, it was really hard digging, but it was also a nice camping trip, and I do enjoy being out at the river. And that works out to $653.82 each, which is 1.87 grams or 1.875 grams per day. Just like, whoa, that's really not a lot. It's $130 per day that we made out there. And if you actually factor that in hourly for the time that the pump was running, it was actually $28 an hour, $28.43 per hour while we were digging with the pump running. Because you're camping, because it's all self-supported, because you have to prospect, it's not realistic to be like 12 hours a day of $28 an hour. We literally, on the 3 core days there, like we were getting 6 hours a day of actual pump on time. You kind of do 2 hours of pump time, move, like clean up, food, eat, all that, and then it works out to an extra hour kind of in between. And so it's literally 9 work hours every day while we're out there to get 6 hours of pump time. lot of efficiency to be gained there if we really want to just, work all the time that we're out there. And yeah, so that's kind of the take home. So right here, I mean, there's 22.86 grams of gold, but by the time you take in expenses and the fact that we were there for 5 days and then you split it, yeah, 1.87 grams a day, 130 bucks a day. And my take home to add to the bottle from this trip is under 10 grams, 9.375 grams each. Right, and real quick, I took all of the tailings. So basically did each one of these cleanups as a separate run because I wanted to know what was where in the sluice. And then after all of that, everything that was like in the tub, I reran a second time. I ran it a little quick, so we actually would have found like more gold. But essentially, the tailings, once I ran that through the Miller table and did a proper panning of it, works out to 0.32 grams. So for 0.32 grams to rerun everything, and I ran it in like half an hour or 40 minutes, probably worth it because it's gold, right? We're all into that. But if you take our total of 22.86 grams that we captured in the first run, and then look at what I captured in the second run, and there's probably a little that made it through because I was running the second run a little bit quick. The VDR Sluice triple setup that we had lost 1.39% of the gold. So we are just over, we're just over that 98.5% capture rate on our cleanup sluice, which I would say is pretty darn acceptable. Yeah, now we can total everything up here. So this is the split of the first 3 days of our trip, 19 hours of digging. The total gold here is 18.39 grams. And in the hopper, we captured 25.2% of all of the gold. In the little pre-capture part called goldfingers, we captured 23.4%. And the main sluice run only actually had to capture 51.4% of the gold. Woo, look at that. That is pretty stuff. Woo-hoo-hoo. Eight. $9.39 and I owe you 9.375. Perfect. So there is your gold, your nice little pile. And then the next trick is, I'll just set this here as a safety because this is going to be a tricky vial to fill. I should be able to get it in there. Does it work? Yes, it does. Come on, baby. There you go. One vial. 9.37 grams. Why don't you reach a hand out, Chris? How does that feel? Does it feel heavy? Give it a
feels
shake.
heavy. It definitely feels heavy.
Like when you actually shake the gold back and forth in the vial, you can tell that something's wrong. Like,
oh yeah.
It's like, man, that is heavy.
It's got some weight. That's some expensive glitter.
That is some expensive glitter. Here, give me your hand, Chris. Good job.
All right.
Good job on your gold take. I'm sure that a lot of the viewers are going to look at that and be like, "You're a spoiled little kid, man. How did you get out and find all that gold?" But
look, I think I got a piece of lead too.
Look at us.
I want my money back.
Cleaning up the river.
Very nice.
Yeah. You'll enjoy playing with that for the next little while, and eventually you'll forget all of the hard work and the $28 an hour number, and you'll be like, we gotta get out there, man. We gotta find more.
That's right.
That's what we do. We find more gold. So yeah, Chris, everybody, he is now a gold miner officially.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. So rest of that is going to go into my piggy bank, Some will be covering expenses, and some will be added to the Crown Royal bottle. So we'll have to keep an eye on. I'm gonna have to empty the Crown Royal bottle of what's in there right now, and basically just start kind of using that to track the year's progress. Can we fill it halfway?
Gotta get out there.
Gotta get out there. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, cheers.